Hey everybody, we're back, and I have with me another mentor of mine. Miss Dot has been around. I think the first time I met you, I was about 7 or 8 years old.
Something like that.
It's been a little bit.
Just a little bit.
And so I've gotten the great pleasure of not just learning from you, but also seeing firsthand how you treat customers, how you talk to them, how you follow up the Christmas, how you do all these different things. And so the goal today is kind of just go through and first off, see what's important to you. And then at the end of this, try and figure out if there's a set system or a form or something that we could go through there to that. So
just leading up to Christmas, maybe just a little bit different than all year long, even though it's probably the same, maybe look at it a little different. One thing I have learned going into Christmas is you have to take care of yourself. You have to feel better. You have to be prepared. You have to make sure that everything you need for work is already taken care of ahead of time. As far as the customers, I try to, just reach out to them, always thank everybody for what they've done throughout the year, follow up, make sure that I've covered all of the wish list, and reach out to maybe the husbands or a daughter or son and get the word to somebody that's going to be the gift giver or at least the little secret Santa.
Right.
And let them know that they have something on layaway.
Let's stop for 1 second. Let's go back to take care of yourself during Christmas. Okay. That took me a long time to realize.
Okay.
What does that look like to you?
Well, we work at such a high pace and such long hours that if you don't have all that taken care of by October, it's too late in November.
Right.
So just well rested, make sure that you take off some time in leading into Christmas and kind of get yourself rested. Do your own Christmas shopping, get your house decorated for Christmas. I think I had my Christmas tree up at the middle of October last year.
Yeah.
I just think that's vital, especially at my age.
And that's something too. If you're new to the industry, is that, the hardest thing about Christmas in retail is that you might not see the sun.
Well, it's like I tell people, years ago, I worked at Sissy's Log Cabin, which was complete retail, and then my husband worked for UPS, so the holidays weren't always easy. And so even though he's retired now and can do a lot of what I need to do, I would say that 75% of my Christmas shopping is already done. Mm-hmm. I did that at the end of the year last year. But I've just learned if I'm going to be successful and be 100% at work, I have to make sure that home is taken care of before I get here.
Yeah. And so, that goes a lot with, if it's when your first Christmas is, your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whoever that is, they've got to learn. Because when I first got married, my wife's family business was done in October, and then it was their slow time. Right. So she was wanting to go out throughout the week, and I tried that first Christmas, and after that catches up to you quickly too.
It does catch up to you, and one thing I do like what we do now is let's put Christmas off until January, February,
right? So
that we can really actually appreciate the time, the hours that we've spent together as a team. You can celebrate Christmas anytime. I learned that from my mom. It's a day, and you just have to just be grateful for what you have and enjoy the time that it's fun around here. Mm-hmm. And so if you're not rested, if you're not taking care of yourself, nobody else is going to do it for you.
No, and it just gets harder and harder to do, because that's when you start forgetting things, misplacing things, and doing things like that. Now, I'd say you're probably different than most because you're so consistent throughout the entire year with your clienteling, your follow-up, and just how you react with customers. How do you give us a breakdown of kind of what you do? Yeah.
Probably once or twice a month. I print off my repair tickets or I guess forms, and I make sure that all those repairs are where they need to be. If there's anything missing, I start looking for it immediately. And then I feel like if all of that busy work is taken care of before the holidays. That's just one thing that stands out in my mind. It's just planning to be prepared. I write pretty much thank you notes for every sale that I do. Follow up, I do a lot of it electronically. I have a form that I remind people it's time to have their jewelry cleaned and checked.
Yeah, and you do that off the edge, or how do you do that?
I do that off the edge and then off of Google Docs too.
Yeah.
I have, and our little repair card.
Yeah.
I have it scanned, and so I send that as well. And it makes it have a little more meaning when they actually get that guarantee attached to their email.
So you spend a lot of time working off of your repairs and services.
I think I do.
That's one of the wildest things that we've seen is that we're going through all these numbers and things like that, and that the people who are the best at repairs and services are the best sellers too.
Yeah, it goes hand in hand.
Yeah, why do you think that is?
Well, I think it's opportunity, and I think every opportunity leads to the next thing. And if you can have their trust on their grandmother's jewelry or something that they've had forever, I think that leads into trust down the road.
So do you work your repairs and everything going into Christmas too? Or does it transfer over to just past history, or what's that look like?
Are you talking about like...
I
do everything 12 months a year.
Right.
I don't have a down...
So really what you're doing is you're doing the same. You've got a consistent program. I send out my cleaning checks and I send out my repair services every single month. And then you just stay in, because you do that, you're touching them every 6 months anyway.
Yeah.
And so you're generating a lot of conversations from there. And then in just Christmas, it's just consistency over a full year pays off.
Yeah. I just think if you put in the work all year long, then it's easier when the holidays come.
Right.
Because you're not, people forget to come and get their repairs. And
a lot of people won't come and get their repairs until it's Christmas, especially if they live in LA.
And that's possible too. So, that's what I do.
Let me ask you this. So, like, one of the things that we've seen a lot is newer associates. We have a few of them still in this building that have the same transaction counts, if not more, than a lot of the people that sell more. But their average ticket is so much lower. So how do you work with these customers, find these higher price items, and then just know what to show and sell?
Well, I helped one of our young associates the other day, and the girl wanted to look at diamonds, and he reached in the diamond box at like a 1 carat, and I said, go to the back of the box, and we pulled out a 5 carat. And I always draw off of that. Years ago in Pine Bluff, I had a couple come in, and she said she wanted a diamond, and I pulled out a 5 carat. It was the first diamond I pulled out. She said, well, that's too big. And so I went to a 4. I didn't go real far down, and the 4 is what she bought.
Yeah.
And it took them about 20 minutes to do it.
I know, isn't that wild? So that's one thing I always talk to people about is how can you tell the difference between somebody who's going to spend $5,000 and $500?
You don't. And you never insult someone by showing them more than they can afford.
Right.
You just can't. You can't insult them, but you could do if you do that, go in the other direction, you're never going to win.
Right. So that's what we've said before is that, what's worse what's worse and what's harder is to guess someone's budget or to guess over someone's budget.
The easier thing to do is guess over their budget.
So how do you, because I've seen you show a 5 or 10 carat diamond to somebody who couldn't afford gas to drive here. And they laughed at it. They had a good time. Well, there was no, I don't want to touch this or I can't afford that.
Yeah, it's just what I do.
Yeah.
It's just what I do. I think you just have to make yourself do those sort of things over and over again until it becomes second nature.
Right.
It's all it is.
So when you're showing somebody something, Is your go-to to always say, I'm looking at diamond studs? To start off with, if I'm looking at diamond studs, I'm going to show you 6-carat diamonds.
Well, if they're standing in front of me, I ask them, what do you have? Now, nobody's ever going to say, I want to go smaller. So I ask them what they have, and then, or they say, I want a 4-carat. I'm going to say, well, let me show you the 6 first.
Yeah.
And then I'll pull the 4 out and then let them try it on.
And I've got to tell you too, and I don't want to, I've seen you do this so many different times, and it's always jokingly and fun as well too. It's never, I'm going to show you 6 carats right here and we're going to focus on it. It's that battleship, throw it out there, and then looking for a response on it.
Well, it's just never been a problem doing that. Ever. I don't think so. Nobody's ever gotten mad at me for showing them bigger.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah. You were talking about repairs. I generate sales off of repairs. I wish I could think what it was. It was just, a lady came last week to pick up a repair of her son's. It was a little cross necklace. I think it was like a $30, $40 repair, and she walked out with $7,000 worth of jewelry for herself. Because I started having a conversation about, she was going to a wedding, and I tell these younger kids, somebody my age, we've done everything else. Now we want some jewelry. Mm-hmm. We don't want a video game. Yeah. We don't want anything. What else you gonna buy me?
Kuiu camo.
No, we don't want. We don't want camo. But what else you gonna buy me? If you went to buy me something right now, William, what would you buy me?
Whew, a day off.
Okay, well, besides that, so I could go to the gym. Yeah.
No.
Well, I did that this morning.
So you could rest up for Christmas?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say too, the thing, and I don't know if you realize this, but it speaks so much, is that talking about when you get the repairs, you know what pitch is coming too. You know their style, you know what type of jewelry they already have, the collection and all that. So when somebody comes in for a repair pickup, you know everything that's going to happen there.
Well, a lot of times if they're coming for a repair, it's because it needs to be replaced. Mm-hmm. And I've sold either diamonds upgrading their ring, or I've sold them a new mounting.
Right.
Because I always look at the cost effectiveness of something, and I try to put myself in every situation where I can go ahead and put $700 or $800 in something that's old, or for just a little bit more, I can get something brand new. And that's the approach that I take.
And isn't that funny? Because you take somebody that has an engagement ring, and let's say it's a $20,000 engagement ring. You tell them it's a $700 repair, but you show them a $50,000 engagement ring. For some reason, that $50,000 engagement ring seems like a better deal than the $20,000, or just the repair of the $700.
Yeah.
And I've seen it so much too. Is that not only I've probably done this more with you than anybody else. You bring somebody in for a diamond trade up or something, and they've got a 1-carat diamond and they want to trade up to a 3 or 4. Almost every single time with you, we end up putting that as a pendant and not trading that in. And keeping it.
Well, it's sentimental.
Right.
That very first diamond, no one had any money.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to get rid of it.
I was thinking about you this weekend because I was best man at my brother's wedding, and I was I went in the wedding so I could hear what was going on. I wasn't nervous. And so I'm standing right there and I'm listening to the blessings and the prayers they're doing with the rings. And I'm like, no wonder no one ever wants to trade these things in.
No.
You should never trade them in because it was there at that ceremony.
Let me just show you this. That's my wedding ring. That's my first one.
Yeah,
now I had a little diamond on it once upon a time, and I still have the diamond that came off that.
Yeah.
But
I mean, even that's how the story starts right there.
Yeah. This is just part of it.
Well, let's go through this too. So what do you do? Is there any follow-up you do in January after sales, or just consistent all throughout the year?
I just try to do the same thing every month. And I try to group it together. Like I'll dedicate a whole day to doing the thank you notes. What I will do this year is I won't get behind. I try to address my envelopes one day.
Right.
I've been known to take them home and do it.
Well, I'm going to help you out with that this year.
What you gonna do?
I'm going to get them addressed for you.
Ooh,
By hand.
you doing it?
I mean, you tell enough, I will. I'll be back here doing whatever you want. Yeah.
I've seen your handwriting.
I know it does not look. They might not think it came from a high-end jewelry store.
Yeah. No,
But
it's okay.
so your consistent system is to once or twice a month run repairs,
Yep.
6-month cleaning checks.
I do that every month,
Right.
and I'm like
Birthdays, anniversaries, or
birthdays, anniversaries. Try to listen. You know, sometimes if I just have somebody on my mind, I'll reach out to them. A couple of weeks ago, a girl was just laid on my heart, and I sent her a text, and she said, "I lost my dad."
oh yeah,
And it was the very day, and you just feel it. Like I had a customer a few weeks ago. Her last daughter went off to college. She's got the empty nest, and I ordered that Beth Moore book that's Feathers in My Nest, and I sent it to her.
Yeah.
I wish I'd have brought my phone. The sweet text that she said, I had that book in my cart.
Yeah,
And she said, and for some reason I didn't buy it, and it came in the mail.
that's so sweet.
Yeah.
Because that's why, I mean, if you follow up just on your repairs and your 6-month cleaning checks, that's every customer you've sold twice a year. And then the repairs, that's a massive amount of traffic.
Yeah, and it takes some time. It takes some effort.
Right.
You can either work harder or you can work smarter.
Right.
And even though it seems like it takes more time to do that, I don't think it does, because those people that you already have the relationship with, they already have their trust. And that's one of the things that I include in my thank you note. More than anything, thank you for your continued trust and your support.
Right.
Because without that, they're never coming back.
That's exactly right. That's a good way to put it. And I'll tell you what, too, is like I say this all the time, like you're going to work the same. It's just choosing when you do it.
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier to work on building a relationship than it is to try and grind out and hammer close somebody on the diamond.
Well, I mean, when I was in the salon, I could make more money with less people, because if they're wanting to be pampered, we're going to start with the head, and then we're going to do the nails, and then we're going to do the feet, and we're going to do all of it. And even the work in between becomes less and less, because you don't have to do all your sanitation and disinfecting,
Yeah.
because it's the same person.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just the way I do things.
What do you think about prayers?
One of the things that I had jotted down on my notes was about prayers, and I think that has to be a daily thing too. And I don't think it has to be just for yourself, but I think it has to be for everybody around you.
You think are you talking about just in private or
Around people?
Well, no, I'm talking about in private, in your quiet time, when that's part of preparing yourself for the holidays.
Yeah.
I think that you have to ask God to give you the strength to continue. And I also think the holidays are so sad for some people, and it's just an emotional time.
I'll tell you what, too,
And I think we just have to ask for God's grace.
and prayer really positions you for gratitude.
It does.
and when
It does.
you've got the attitude of gratitude, it's
Yeah.
so easy to get down in Christmas or have a slow week or forget something, misplace something, and do
Yeah.
mess up around there.
Well, also too, we don't ever know why God has us where He has us, and what you have to do is just ask Him to, whatever His purpose is for us, just ask Him to be in it, in that situation, in that moment. We don't know when we're going to run into somebody that's going to need you. You don't think of it like that. But last week a lady came in and she wanted 2 little bitty bracelets with a cross on it. And she wanted one for her and one for her daughter-in-law. And when we got to talking to her about it, of course, we knew it was faith-based, but she wouldn't have asked for a cross. But she said that her daughter-in-law had just lost a baby, and that she said, we are Christians and we are going to get through this. And I wanted that as a reminder for her and for me.
Yeah.
So
I think too, when you're in prayer and you're focused on your place in different things, I think you look for different opportunities as well too.
And I think also in our prayer is asking God to bring those situations to you and asking Him to prepare you to be ready for those situations.
Yeah.
And I just think that's key, and I think that's the first step. It's just making sure, we are a Christian organization, and I think that's what keeps me going, is that I'm as comfortable here as I am anywhere else.
Right.
Is because I know people care about me.
Well, is there anything that you would like to leave for advice, tips, or anything you feel like you missed for any newer associates coming out there?
I think that you have to want to be here. It's too hard if you're not wanting to be here. I think that you have to have a servant heart. I don't think that you can do this for selfish reasons. I think you have to be given back. I think you have to do for others. I think you have to help your team. I think you have to have awareness of what's going on around you. What else? Let me think. Let me look at my notes. You have to team sell.
That's the biggest thing right there.
You have to team sell. I do a lot of team selling, and I don't think it's ever.
Cut you short.
I don't think it has. I don't think giving and doing for others and doing the right thing has ever done me wrong.
I can't think of any time ever myself. I mean, if anything, it's a whole lot more fun to sell. And I'm sure it's a whole lot more fun from the purchase.
Well, I think it's more fun for the customer.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
They enjoy. I think they enjoy being around an environment and a group of people that are having fun, and I don't think that's anything that you can fake.
No, you can't at all.
And another thing I was thinking about, you have to adapt your process differently based off of who you're waiting on. Now, I mean, sure, there's a framework and there's a formula, but you have to just, I don't know, maybe that's because I've lived a little bit.
No, it's the same thing as playing it's like hitting a baseball. You never know what's coming. You got to adjust every single time.
Yeah.
That's where it is. Well, Don, I'd like to tell you thank you.
You're welcome.
I think you exemplify everything you
You're
talked
sweet.
about today. And I can't thank you enough for doing
You're
this.
welcome. You're
I'm looking
welcome.
forward to Christmas with you.
It's going to be fun.